What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 132 of Value Town. I'm ChanManV, and joining me, of course, are my co-hosts Alliestrasza and Jackie Chan. How's it going, guys? I feel like I haven't seen you guys in so long, so this is so great.
I know it didn't feel right not having an episode last week, so good to be back.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Back
thank
in
goodness we
action.
got an episode in the day before I left. You know, just a little bit early, or else it would have been 2 weeks, which would have been
2
crazy.
weeks.
Yeah.
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 So what you guys been
So
up
much
to?
is happening.
I know, right?
Right around.
It's been crazy. I've like literally been spending the last, because I got in yesterday, so the last 24 hours have been literally crazy catching up. So I've been looking through the cards and obviously talked to you guys a little bit yesterday, you know, just planning the show. But yeah, lots of stuff been going on. So how about you guys? Like, what have you guys been up to?
We've just been playing ladder, you know, just
Ladder?
just laddering it up in anticipation for the new set. I was playing a really fun Dragon Priest deck with Inner Fire and Divine Spirit and all that stuff. And
Yeah.
so it's pretty much what I've been doing this whole week. Is playing that.
Yeah, I've been obsessing over the new cards, reviewing
Yes,
that kind of thing.
that too.
Bit of rapping on the side.
A bit of rapping on the side. Yes. Those card reveals. I definitely saw the card reveals from both of you guys, which was, obviously super hype that you guys were able to do it. It was the first one for you guys, right? Like, you guys have never
Yes.
gotten a card, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Very
It's so
Feel
good.
privileged.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great.
So we gotta show some of these. In case you guys missed it,
Pretty snowy.
I'll show a few of these. So
cold.
we got Allie
God.
in a blizzard
Lich
here
King about Hearthstone,
reporting
and he
about
told me he was gonna kill me.
the card
When he
here.
passed
So
away. It was kind of weird. so I just
definitely
kept on
super
walking.
creative.
But the important
And
thing is I
it's getting
just
hard to be
refused
creative. So
to
whenever you can come with something
those
that's
skeleton
so different and new,
dragons
then
circling
that's
around
definitely
me.
something to
Those guys.
to applaud you with. Look at that. Where'd those dragons come from?
Free CGI YouTube dragons. I think one's from Skyrim, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, really? Yeah, so nice. So you got Bone Drake. Okay, that's cool.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
So on a serious
Awesome.
note, let's talk.
All right, and then we got the Rap Master Meat Wagon, Jackie Chan over here. I don't know if you guys caught this or not.
Meat
but-
wagon. It's a bit of a
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, man.
With
It was
a
a lot
bit
of
of a
fun.
theme. It's a 4-mana, 1/4
They can't-
Big Mac, and
yeah,
it's
we're-
Death
they can hear the
Rattle,
audio
full
right
minion
now,
out
too,
your
so-
deck. You'll have
Yeah,
to take
so
your deck.
definitely a lot of fun that I missed out on with all these card reveals. But so what do you guys think?
How
about
was your trip?
Oh, my trip? Yeah, vacation. Oh, it was great, man. Went to California and did a lot of the national parks. So a lot of hiking and camping
cool.
and doing that sort of thing. And unlike most vacations, I literally tried to do zero work, which I didn't accomplish, but I came as close as
Nice.
I probably physically
Relax
can.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Yeah, so that's why yesterday and today I've been just absolutely crazy trying to catch
Catch-up days.
Yeah, but one thing I do have to say is I got a chance to look at every card except for the ones that we reviewed before my trip. I got to look at them all at once, which I have not gotten to do that in I don't even
Ever?
remember. Yeah, like maybe when I first started the game in beta. But so that was actually a really cool experience, being able to just see like 100 cards for the first time all at once. It's like, why
Were you
can't those just-
overwhelmed? Just like, where do I even start?
Yeah, because what we have planned today obviously is a bunch of reviews and rankings, and you guys will get a chance to see that soon. And just even where to start was a little bit like, oh my god, like how do I even do I look through them all first, or do I just start taking notes? So yeah, I ended up just kind of like making my own list as it was going, and then I edited it once I got it to the end of it, and then I edited it again once I decided to start planning the show. So, but no, it was like really fun. It kind of makes me wish that Blizzard again could somehow, still allow for the marketing of these card reveals, yet still show us like 100 all at once at the end. That'd be
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah.
But anyways, guys, we have obviously a very full show planned for you guys, given that we didn't do one last week. So we're going to be talking about just whatever news is left with Knights of the Frozen Throne, given that it's coming out tomorrow. And yeah, so we're super excited.
Hyped.
Exactly. These are the days where we just kind of sit there and just. I don't know how you guys stream, by the way, like these days before, because it's like, do we really care about the
Agony.
decks that
I
we played?
right. I
Like,
know.
yeah.
Give me new cards.
Yeah. Speaking of which, guys, we're gonna try to do deck of the week after the show, or at least a little bit later tonight. So get kind of the regular time, 9 p.m. Eastern. If you guys are still want to come and share your experience with Priest or Kazakus Priest that we had for deck of the week last time, then come join us. But we have to get it in before the new cards come out. Otherwise, it's like, who wants to talk about Kazakus Priest? I mean, but yeah, so why don't we go into some of the news, because we're going to be talking about news, and we're going to go into just like reviews and good bad cards, bad cards. Just we're not going to talk about all of them. We've kind of got like a bucket of things to talk about, just to kind of make it into some kind of manageable concise
review.
episode instead of like a 10-hour episode. And then of course we got some Q&A from some of the patrons and viewers at the end. But why don't we talk about some news that I think that Blizzard released, which was obviously the release date is August 10th, which is tomorrow. And what time is it? Is that at like midnight tonight, or it's usually like in the afternoon, right? So
That's a really good question, actually. I would imagine maybe like 11 a.m. Pacific time. I like somewhere around there, but I really don't know for sure. I don't know if any of us do, actually.
Yeah, they literally never tell anyone. I think from what I've heard, I think it's in terms of my time, it's 6 p.m. BST for NA, and then 3 a.m. the next morning for EU.
I just got a message saying noon PST.
Noon PST. Okay. All right.
Yes.
Okay.
That's good.
That's what we're looking at here.
All right. So you guys going to start your stream before it comes out, or are you guys like you're just going to be sitting there waiting with everybody? It's like
I'm going to do a load of theory crafting.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Yeah, we'll definitely hopefully get some of that theory crafting too, a little bit later when we're talking about the decks that we want to play. But yeah, so anyways, we got August 10th release date. Obviously 135 new cards. We talked about Death Knight hero cards, of course. I think some of the things to go over maybe is that the single player missions, we're going to get 2 right off the bat, the prologue and the lower citadel. And then the other 2 will be available in the coming weeks. So by the end, obviously we'll have all the missions. And then there's been news about the new Prince Arthas Paladin skin or hero that's going to be available if you finish all the missions with all 9 classes. So the days of just trying to finish it as fast as you can with the cheesiest, deck and just getting the cards are probably gone. I think the point of doing these missions now is just to have us spend some time and try to finish them in a thorough manner instead of just like in a very quick manner. But what do you guys think about that?
Apparently, it's supposed to be more like kind of difficult to get Arthas with all the 9 classes. So I'm actually looking forward to a challenge, because I feel like sometimes in the past the adventures have been a little bit on the easier side. So I'm looking forward to a challenge.
Yeah, I feel like the heroics were literally just, okay, well, you guys finished the regular. Now let's just give the boss like 30,000 hit points, and then that's heroic, guys.
Right, yeah. So hopefully this will be a little bit more interesting.
Seems I hope you can enjoy it a bit more rather than just rushing through it. Yeah. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see. It looks like you'll also earn a Knights of the Frozen Throne pack after completing each section, so you get a total of 3. You also get some packs for logging in too. So there's a separate bit of news. I think you get 3 packs for just logging in, because there's an actual event associated with the release too. And then it looks like arena draft change. So this is really, really interesting. The first 2 sets of cards in a draft are now more likely to include synergy-based cards. So what does that mean? So does that mean like the 2 cards will be, or the 6 cards that are going to be shown are going to have synergy with them, or I'm not quite sure about what that means.
I'm not entirely sure how to decipher that either. All I heard all I thought when I first heard that was maybe with Netherspite Historian, I'll actually be able to get some dragons because I pick up that card every single time or that I have the option to, and I just never get the dragons. So, or elemental synergies and stuff like that.
So like a tribal thing.
I think that's what they're referring to.
But then I'm not sure if it's the first card is going to have synergy with the second card, or if literally just the first two have some kind of random synergy. Which I don't really like it, to be honest, because if you're getting, say, the option, it's kind of deciding how you're going to build the deck from just like the first couple of cards. Like you get like an elemental, you're like, oh, I'm going to make an elemental deck, and then you just the whole thing just hoping to get more elementals. It's just like,
yeah, that's that. I agree with that too, and it's the way it's worded too is that it says you're now more likely to include synergy-based cards, which means that it's not going to be every single time. And I think that's a little bit of a weird decision too, because if you're going to, I feel like if you're going to introduce this, you should just introduce it every single time that there's an arena draft, given that, you know, at least you'll have that kind of consistency between the opponents, right? This is just like, maybe there's not synergy between the two, and it's just, okay, well, that's different than my opponent.
If someone gets an insane luck with their synergies, and then someone else gets really average luck, you know, I think it's going to kind of be an issue. Maybe it'll be a change of pace, you know, and for a little while, and just in the arena meta and stuff like that. So it'd be different.
Yeah, I guess one of the good things about it is that a lot of synergy cards, like when you're playing arena, a lot of synergy cards aren't very good because they're pretty bad unless you have synergy with them. So what this could do is maybe make some more cards that aren't very common in arena maybe better, see a bit more play, potentially.
For me, I feel like this kind of change is trying to make arena more like constructed.
Exactly. Yeah, that's how I feel too.
I like arena being what it is, you know, like I like arena being something actually different than standard. So I hope they're not moving in that direction, because I feel like the last few things, which aren't necessarily bad things, I don't want to just say these are bad changes to arena. They're just different. But I feel like all these changes are moving towards like arena becoming more like standard, and maybe there is this kind of accessibility aspect to it because more people have been playing standard and understand that, and they want to get arena more popular that way. But I mean, I've always just liked arena as a different game format, and everything about it is different. You know, like we end up playing all these kind of cards that we would never play in constructed, and you know, some of the constructed cards have less value, right?
I'm interested to see what it does to, like, just and what people in the arena community have to say about it after the change happens.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be a quick video.
It is only 2 cards, so it's not like
how different can it be?
But it's the first 2 cards though, so it's like you were mentioning before. It will dictate a bit of how your draft is right from the get-go. Where before, you know, you had this type of technique or approach to where you would have to take more of a general value based approach from the first 5 to 10 cards, and then based off of what you get there, you know, you adapt on the fly, right? And you try to make the best of what you have. Where this, it's like, you know, right from the get-go, you'll probably have you have a percent or a higher percent chance of maybe dictating the direction you're going to take. I mean, you still don't know what cards are coming, so you know, there's still a little bit of that. And maybe there is some skill in trying to navigate that. Like, what happens if you get 2 dragons off the bat, and then you never get dragons again?
Exactly.
That was bad, man.
Yeah, exactly. Why'd I pick that historian? Like, right.
Maybe you'll just forego like the dragons, but if it's elementals, maybe some synergies is better, and you'll just completely ditch the idea. Like even if you get the option, like I'm still not going to do dragons because I never get lucky, or maybe
right.
You know what I mean?
Well, you have to pick some kind of dragon the first 2 picks. Yeah. Okay, well, the rest of these are card backs, which pretty cool. Blood Knight, Frost Knight, Call of the Light, which is pretty plain, to be quite honest. It's like purple and gray. And then Call of the Void here, which is a little bit cooler.
Like that one.
There's also been a card change. So Dreadsteed, the text on Dreadsteed has changed. Yeah.
Rip Dreadsteed.
I know.
I know.
Rip Dreadsteed. It's not that bad. Come on. I mean, it's still ever living, basically, unless it's silenced, which
Yeah.
it's been changed from summon a Dreadsteed, the Death Rattle, to at the end of the turn summon a Dreadsteed. So,
Yeah.
no more, I guess, Baron Rivendare shenanigans with justice craziness during the turn. I guess you can only get one now at the end, but I wonder why they made that change. Is there any card in the set that?
Yeah, it's
really-
because of
Yeah.
Defile.
Oh, yes.
Defile basically gives an infinite loop, and it
Yeah.
just never ends.
Yeah, that's right.
That would have
Okay,
been
that makes
hilarious
sense.
to see, though. Like,
Yeah, it
That's
would
a
have been.
disguise. Would that be
that's
hilarious though?
toast. Yeah.
Everybody would basically be playing on ladder just to troll everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, that totally makes sense. Mistress of Pain and Wicker. Okay, they now have lifesteal. That makes sense. Okay, Fandral. They cleaned up the text on this, which actually has effects. So with the choose when you have the choose one cards, instead of having them just both combined, they actually execute separately now. So I think the biggest example would be Wrath, or the best example to me to talk about is Wrath. So instead of just like doing 4 damage now and drawing a card, just to like 1 minion, you actually shoot for 3 first, and then you shoot for 1 first. I believe it's that order. It could be the opposite, but you definitely shoot twice though. So if something has Divine Shield, you actually do damage to.
I like that better.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. So
Wait a second.
it doesn't change, I guess, how it works already, except for I guess if something gives you
Divine
like
Shield.
armor or something twice, that sort of thing. But for the most part, I think it's a better change for the way it
I agree.
interacts with things. Another thing is the hero powers no longer refresh when you ditch your weapon or when you change heroes. So if you swing with if you get a chance to swing for whatever reason with your warlock, and then or just use your hero power. Sorry,
Draxus.
Yeah. Or no, wait. Is it? It's the weapon swing, right? So yeah, you don't get a chance to refresh your weapon swing whenever you change heroes. So Draxus won't get to swing if you've already swung once. So not a huge change, but there's definitely been some parts or some scenarios in the game where people take advantage of it.
Yeah.
And
Very
Well, I
minor.
suppose they did that because of the Death Knight heroes like Uthers. You can't just True Silver and then
heal twice, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then equip the Death Knight and attack again.
Mm-hmm.
So that'd be like 9 damage to something
Yeah.
intense.
That makes sense. Yeah. And the last thing is, look, like Akonai Soul Priest, similar effects will only trigger once when combined with Lifesteal. So I think the best example of that was like Mistress of Pain or something, or something where you can do like multiple iterations of the heals, right? Which would essentially be doing damage to you as a priest, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's
So
pretty minor
basically,
thing.
you can't kill yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't kill yourself.
Yeah, it's probably a good thing.
It's better. No, I'm happy they did that actually.
It's like slightly sad because you can't have any like meme deaths, but
Yeah.
probably a good thing.
I know.
Jackie
Yeah, I'm
looking
not
for
sure
the
it's a good
memes.
thing because of that. There's probably some instance of like maybe another infinite situation where, you just kill yourself on accident, which would be super
Yeah.
bad. But yeah, anyways, so those are the changes that are going to be happening soon. So I think all these things sound pretty cool. Just something in addition to all the new cards, definitely good. Let's see, anything else? I don't think there's been that much more details on the events, but I'm looking forward to seeing what the events is. But the other thing I wanted to talk about, I guess, in terms of just all of the announcements and things, is that I just want to say, want to give Blizzard kudos just in general for how they've been marketing the Knights of the Frozen Throne. Now the expansion is about to come out. I feel like once it's out, then this whole marketing, at least the huge part of the marketing machine for the expansion will probably be done, and over. Maybe the team will be relieved to an extent, that they can finally just breathe. But I do have to say that the Knights of the Frozen Throne we've seen more marketing and events, and I would just say marketing dollars put into this than we've seen with any other expansion. So it's been great.
I think it makes sense because even though I didn't play WoW, based on what I've heard, like the Lich King was such a a staple of WoW, and it's been, you know, a lot of people's favorites expansions from WoW. So I feel like this was the opportune time to market as much as they possibly could, because, you know, maybe they're trying to pull in some people that used to play WoW and they're like, oh my gosh, like the Lich King, maybe I should try out Hearthstone if I hadn't already. So I think it was like really well done on their part, especially like at Comic-Con, they had pedicabs with Knights of the Frozen Throne all over the city. Like they did a fantastic job. So, and it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, this is the kind of thing I would say we've seen in the past with the Overwatch team. You know, like when Overwatch was first coming out, we would see, you know, this type of marketing, and even the Heroes team to a degree. So I'm really happy to see that, you know, this type of emphasis and approach and money and again investment is we're seeing that in the Hearthstone. Because before I would say that, you know, it just didn't feel like they had the same amount of attention to it. You know, it's just like, okay, we have the new cards and we're doing the card reveals, and that was like, you know, good enough, or at least, you know, doing these streams where they show all the reveals. But all these little things, you know, it does help hype up the expansion, you know, and hyping up the expansion is just going to, you know, it's going to add more life to each, you know, in between each of these 3 months or 4 months or whatever it is between expansions. So, you know, really, really glad they did it. And, you know, kudos for how they did it too. Even just like working with Tempo Storm, right? Like the whole Tempo Storm thing where they're, you know, the Lich Kings or the team's been taken. They've been taken over. Things. I mean, that's something we've never seen before. So
I was enjoying the trailer things they were doing with like Uther and Gul'dan.
Those have been the best ones. Yeah, totally.
That was funny. Yeah.
Way better than the Angora ones, I have to say. Even though the Angora ones actually had a famous actor in it, or an actor that people knew.
Oh yeah,
these were still way better.
Safari guy. Yeah, these were better. Yeah, they were good.
Yeah, hopefully this continues, and you know, the next, all the expansions from here on out, you know, will be at that type of level. I mean, the next one will probably be at BlizzCon, so maybe we'll see some incredible things, you know, just again in and around BlizzCon regarding the expansion. That'd be really, really cool. Is the Hearthstone Championship at BlizzCon this year?
No,
it's not, right? Yeah. So what's going to even be at BlizzCon in terms of Hearthstone?
Great question. I don't know. I think I don't know where in Europe, but the championship is somewhere in Europe. So.
I know they were purposely trying to pull it off of BlizzCon this year, so it might be a lighter year of Hearthstone. Hopefully it's not, you know, with the new expansion and everything, but
yeah.
All right, so the next thing, community. I know you guys wanted to. I think Trump's in the chat right now, so I think you guys wanted to mention something about Trump. So I totally missed this. So fill me in on what went on here.
All right. Well, I totally fell for it. I guess Trump was doing a review. I think it was review over theory crafting, and he was referencing a warrior card. And he's like, oh yeah, this will go great with the new Death Knight warrior, where the double wielding weapon. I think that's what it was. And he like played it off, didn't say anything, and then the chat was like, oh my god, this is like spoilers, and he just sat there for a little while, and he's like, what? Like, what do you mean? We know the warrior Death Knight by now. And they're like, no, we don't. And then he's like, oh no. I totally fell for it. I thought he just slipped up and he like knew about it, but no, Trump, you did a fantastic job trolling everyone. Kudos to you.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Everyone in my chat was spamming it like, oh, new warrior revealed. Trump accidentally revealed it, and I was like trying to think of all loads of ways you could use two weapons at the same time. Right. Oh yeah, it's gonna be so good. You can have your Fool's Bane and your Gore Howl. Like what?
I was thinking about it now. It's like, what were we thinking? Like, how could we possibly do that? But no, that's awesome, man. Trump, that prankster, exactly. Good stuff. All right, I think community. Anything else in the community, guys? You guys wanted to bring up that might have been going on when I was gone?
Kibler burned the Warlock Death Knight card during the reveals.
Oh,
that was a disaster.
That's a
everyone was like, Kibler did great.
Everyone was so hyped for the Warlock, the Death Knight. I was like, oh yes, wait to see the Warlock Death Knight. Oh, there it goes.
We saw the picture. That's about all we saw.
It was funny though. It was funny.
Yeah.
But bad RNG. So
they got to script it even more. Bro, you should have totally scripted the outro for that one. Yeah. That's funny. Okay, well, we've got a bunch of cards to talk about in just a sec. But before we do, I just want to give a quick shout out to some of the folks that, of course, support the show, which is our patrons. And we like to take a little bit of time each and every episode to, show some gratitude because you guys are the ones that make this show happen. Without you guys, the show wouldn't happen because we are 100% supported by the Patreon right now. So I want to give a shout out to our legendary producer every week, Mike T. You are awesome. And then some of the other patrons too, David H., Havoc, Davin P., Johnson C., Grant A., Louise L., Eric L., Sasha G., and Jeff B. Thanks so much, guys. You guys are amazing. And, we are planning some, or at least I've been starting to think about some more things to do with the patrons this coming, or at least in the coming months, because we've been doing Deck of the Week, which has been really, really successful, I would say, with some of the patrons that have been participating. And, we're going to be trying to plan a meetup too at BlizzCon, because we haven't done a meetup before, at least with Value Town. So definitely be looking out for that and, some more details. And I think me and Allie will most likely be there, and Jackie, a maybe or maybe not type of thing. So we'll have to figure it out as it gets closer. I just want to let you guys know, just at least, things are coming in the works. And also, the podcast, or Value Town, is also on iTunes, as well as some of the audio channels like Google Play and SoundCloud. Just want to give a shout out to some of the folks, or somebody that left a nice review, because it actually helps people find Value Town on iTunes whenever they're searching for a Hearthstone podcast. So a big shout out to Jay Spana, I think it's how you pronounce it, for some nice words and obviously the rating. And if you guys want to help us out too, and you don't have any, you don't have a few bucks to give to the patron, and you listen to iTunes, just go to iTunes. It takes like a minute to do that. That really, really help us out. Okay, this is the part we've been all waiting for. Let's talk about cards. Yes.
The cards.
Oh no, I've shown stuff too early. Oh no. Okay.
No.
All right.
Spoilers.
So I know exactly. It's not that big a deal. Okay, so this is what we're doing, guys. Instead of just going through like 120 cards or whatever it is that we have not gone over, I figured the best thing to do, and maybe this is kind of just generally, I think what we'll do on the show, is kind of try to clump up discussions about the cards. So we'll be doing things like what we think are the strongest cards, or each of us will present like our 5 strongest cards, or cards we think will be strong, and then we'll go strongest, potentially strong, because we're not like willing to say these are great and show up on Reddit whenever we're totally wrong. And then we got debated, the ones that we think will be causing people to show up on Reddit, basically. And then lastly, our favorite ones, just the ones that we like for whatever reason, excited to play. And then we also have class rankings, and then new Death Knight Hero Power rankings that we'll talk about. So let's start off with strongest, which I like to call wow, that's good. Actually, I was going to say, wow, that's good. Exactly.
Wow, that's good.
Wow, that's so good. Yeah, so we each have 5 cards. I figure we just each take them, and just remember, guys, that we got listeners. So if you can just like maybe read out the cards before you talk about it, that'd be good. But why don't we have, we'll take turns like each section. So Allie, why don't you start off?
Okay. All right. So my first one is Righteous Protectors, 1 mana, 1/1 Paladin card with Taunt and Divine Shield. So Argent Squire, we see it in the meta currently, and this is just basically a better Argent Squire.
Wow, that's good.
It's
Right.
I think this card is so good. Like putting this in front of a Doomsayer, like a turn 3, drop this and then a Doomsayer, like it just, I mean, granted, you'd probably be running this in a deck that's faster like Argent Squire, but still, I think there's a lot of potential for it. So yeah, I think this guy's really, really strong. And, sometimes when you play Paladin decks, I want a 1 mana card to be able to steed, so I can get my steed off on 7 as opposed to 8. So like if I have a Murloc Tidecaller, I'm always like, yes. And so just having this guy in the deck will be good there as well.
Yeah, there's all those Divine Shield synergies now too. So having even an additional 1/1 as Divine Shield is definitely a good thing.
Yeah, I think this guy's super strong. All right, so moving on. So Bone Mare is a 7 mana 5/5. Give a friendly minion +4/+4 and taunt. And it looks like all 3 of us have put.
Yeah, I think we all agree that one's a good one.
This card is this card is so wow, that's good that we've all put it. It is pretty crazy.
It is bone
It is
dreams,
pretty
man, not
crazy.
bone mare.
It's a lot of stats.
Yeah,
Like,
it's huge.
For 7 mana, I think it's really darn good.
It's going to be literally like the best card in Arena. Everyone's going to be like, oh, yes, I got Bone Mare in my Arena deck.
Yeah, for sure. What kind of decks were you guys envisioning in this? And I was thinking like a Control Paladin, something along those lines.
I think in
I
mid-range
think you can
it's
put
good
it in a
too.
lot.
I think
Mid-range,
it's,
definitely.
Yeah. What's interesting about Bone Mare to me is that it's not that different than Don Honcho if you actually just look at the total stats and things like that. But it's so much better though because it's immediate versus like
And
a value.
defensive.
Yeah, and it's a taunt too.
Yeah, I think it's crazy that it's got the taunt attached to it as well. Like when I first saw it, I kind of ignored the taunt. I was like, oh yeah, that's pretty good card. And then I saw taunt as well. I was like, well, that's actually crazy. Like, like any deck that is a kind of mid-rangey deck that's trying to be ahead on board, this could just be very good.
Even a tempo deck, it's whatever, right? It's definitely going to be good. So I can see it in almost every type of deck except for a combo deck.
I know. I'm trying
almost every deck.
No, not every deck, but every kind of deck.
Throw it in there.
Not every deck. That
No,
would
but I know
not
what
be
you
a good
mean.
card.
Like not Freeze Mage is a combo deck, so you're saying not.
Yeah, not a combo deck.
Not a combo deck, but mid range, I think Control.
You can aggro to an extent. I mean, you can make an argument for that being the last card in an aggro deck too. But yeah, super good card.
Stats, it's damage. Yeah.
Next Happy Ghoul. Me and you have both got Chanman. 3 mana, 3/3, costs 0 if your hero is healed this turn.
Man. Yeah.
So it's obviously very good with lifesteal. And like a 0 mana 3/3, this is like an insane tempo card. But what's good about it is that it's a tempo card that it's not going to fit in a super aggressive deck. Like you're not going to play this in Pirate Warrior or Token Druid or Token Shaman. But this is going to be much better in things like Paladin with True Silver and Burn Bristle and any lifesteal type things and Priest as well. So this card seems really good to me.
Yeah, just anything that costs 0, we've seen, right? We've seen Shaman take a great effect. This isn't a 5/5, but still a 3/3 early on in the game. You can get this down on turn 2, and it's great. I mean, you can actually hero power yourself and get this down on turn 2.
Yeah, right.
So I think it's super flexible, and the different scenarios that you can use it is vast. And that's one of the big parameters, at least for me, in terms of cards being potentially the strongest.
Definitely.
Yeah. All
right,
right, Allie, your next one.
Continue going. All right, so the Lich King, it was kind of an obvious one for me, is a 8 mana 8/8 taunt. At the end of your turn, add a random Death Knight card to your hand.
It's a legend too.
There's a it's a legendary. I think there's a reason why everyone's kind of calling him Dr. 8. I think that he's gonna be in a lot of decks, mid-range and control. I think some of the Death Knight cards are insanely powerful. The only one I don't really like is the destroy all minions and then remove, the amount of cards that you destroyed, like minions you destroyed. That's the only one I'm like not a huge fan of in terms of the Death Knight cards. But overall, I think that he's the biggest staple of the set potentially, and I think he's very strong. So.
Yeah, so it's at the. I mean, it's never ending. Like it's not battle cry at the end of your turn at a random.
Yes.
It's actually, if it lives, it just keeps giving Death Knight cards. Yeah. So,
exactly.
So given that it's random, you can actually get like back to back the same ones, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
There's also that little I forget the name of the card.
Office.
No. It's the one that triggers your end of turn effects twice. So it's kind of like a brand, but it's for end of turn effects.
Oh, the
so
3 mana 1/5
Right.
Drakari Enchanter.
Yes.
Yeah. You obviously can't play the two together because 8 and 3, but I don't know why you'd want to play that card, but maybe it'll pop up, and getting double Death Knight cards at the end of each turn would probably be insane.
Now that's one thing I noticed about this set is that they have added cards that have potentially infinite value. You know, we only saw that like
Yeah.
in maybe not even one handful, maybe like a half a handful of cards in the past. But with this one, I feel like we're seeing like 5, 6, 7 or something like that. That if you don't kill it, it just keeps giving your opponent guys or value cards or that sort of thing. And you'll see some of those in the coming list, at least for me. And I think that's cool. That's super cool. You know, it's a different way to make a card essentially taunt. You know, without actually taunt. This one's actually taunted too.
This one actually is
it's like different. But,
a lot of people have speculated if BGH or Black Knight will come back into the meta. If Lich King really is that prevalent, people are like, Druid, how is Druid gonna easily remove this? You know, if they don't have a board, so you might have to run some kind of single target removal for him if he really is that prevalent, which I think he will be. So maybe we'll see.
I mean, some people have been comparing Lich King to Rag as kind of like the 8-drop that you can just chuck in every deck, but I don't think it's quite as good as Rag. Like, I think
agree.
Lich King's definitely good. But a lot of the problem with the one problem with the Death Knight cards is that a lot of them some of them are quite situational, and so sometimes you are just going to get a completely useless card. Obviously, they are all powerful, but it's pretty inconsistent kind of which one you're getting. So.
Yeah, Lich King feels a little bit like. Yeah, he's a taunt. The taunt is nice too.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say though?
I was gonna say he feels a little bit like Archthief Rafam. You know, it's like.
Yeah, but I love that card.
Yeah. You get that big body down, but it still takes like another full turn to actually run something. You know, because the Death Knight's huge, right? So. It's not like quick value, but you do get at least the taunt. The taunt is actually something that Archthief never had. So some immediate effect, but just not super powerful, you know, like some of the other cards.
Yeah.
I'll definitely be playing it though. It's no question I'll be playing it though.
Maybe it won't be in as many decks as we think. I'm not sure. I mean, I think everyone's gonna at first be playing him, but maybe we'll come to the conclusion that
I would say the greedier decks will eventually be the only ones that run it. But that's that's every 8/8 pretty much.
Yeah,
there's not very many 8/8s outside of free giants that get play in mid-range decks. Okay, you got Bolvar next too, right?
Yeah, I think Bolvar is strong. I think I saw like at first a lot of people saying, oh, he should have Ton or he's not that strong, but I think that for 5 mana. I should say the card. It's a 5 mana legendary Divine Shield. After a friendly minion loses Divine Shield, gain +2 attack. I think for 5 mana, he's not that expensive. So if you were trying to run a Divine Shield Steward of Darkshire deck, it could still work. But I think that the power in this card is simply just in its stats and the fact that it has Divine Shield. And typically the follow-up, if you draw your cards in the right order, is Spike Steed. And so I feel like removing a 1/7 with Divine Shield is probably not the easiest thing to do for the most part. And so if it's kind of ensuring a strong minion to Spike Steed, I think it's pretty good. So I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say though.
Yeah, I think I agree. I mean, when its own Divine Shield gets popped, it gets +2 attack. So it's kind of it's a 1/7 start, and then it's always going to become a 3/7 when its own Divine Shield gets popped. Obviously, you've got Burn Bristle, which is just kind of staple. The new 1 mana Righteous Protector that you were talking about a minute ago is obviously very good. And yeah, I agree with you. I think you could definitely see some play. I would actually love to see some potentially like a full Divine Shield synergy paladin. Like I would love that.
Everybody's gonna be trying that the first day. I can't. I promise you that.
Don't know how good it'll be, but it'd be at least fun to try.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would say I think all those things that you guys mentioned are really good things. I would just be a little bit scared that it's susceptible to Kodo. And Priest owns it too. Yeah, totally owns it. If this is going to be...
Priest owns it. That's fair.
Yeah. But otherwise, I think for the most part, if you're going to build a Divine Shield centric Paladin, you're going to get good value from this. Might not be broken value, but it's good value. And then all the taunts, right? Or not the taunts, but the buffs. I mean, Paladin's going to have a bunch of buffs. It's pretty clear. It already does, but we're going to see even more now that we have Divine Shield protecting it too. So this card would be good in that instance.
All right, shall we move on to Bear Shark?
Bear
I can't believe
is on here.
I can't believe
I
Bear
can't
Shark
either.
in here.
It's like, wow.
I think Bear Shark's strong. Okay, I could be, and I'm so nervous of putting my opinions out.
This is awesome, though. Okay.
I could be totally wrong, and the internet's gonna be like, "God, Allie, you're terrible at that understanding cards." Anyway, but I think, okay, so if we think about it, if we were playing against a mage, like the one thing that I thought of that could remove this easily would be Medivh's Valet. Sorry, it's a 3-mana 4/3 beast, can't be targeted by spells or hero powers. If you're Hunter and you're on the coin, you can get it out turn 2 with the 3/2 adapt minion. What's that guy called? I always forget that guy's.
Crackling Razor Maul.
Yeah.
Yes, him. You can, give it health. I think that it's better. Now, I don't know how good Hunter is going to be. I don't think Hunter is going to be great, but the card in itself, I do think is relatively strong because I do think it's got aggressive stats and would fit well into an aggressive Hunter deck. So I like it, and I'm gonna stand by. I'm gonna stand by that. But I'm curious to see why you guys think it might not be as strong.
No, I mean, I definitely agree that it's definitely a really good card in terms of like what you're getting. Like 3-mana 4/3 can't be targeted, plus the benefit of a beast is great. Like I'd say it's better than Fairy Dragon.
Yeah.
But the problem I have with it is that Hunter is currently, it just doesn't have as good early game as a lot of the other aggressive decks. And so this is the kind of minion that you would love to just play onto an empty board. And so it's very good against like control decks like Mage and that kind of thing. But Hunter is already kind of pretty good at that. And Hunter's already got loads of stuff that you're very happy just playing onto an empty board and slowly piling pressure on. But what Hunter is bad at is kind of beating other aggressive decks right now. And this is like really bad when you're behind on board. And I don't think Hunter quite has the tools to consistently get ahead on board.
Yeah.
No quick shot, nothing like that.
Exactly.
Come back, right.
If it was a 3/4, I think if it was a 3/4, it would be more of a, I would be considered.
If it was a 3/4, I think it would be like,
it would be. It's so funny because the stats are the same, right? But it would actually be elevated a lot more because of that extra. That one extra health is huge, like it's crazy huge. Because then Valet couldn't kill it, and I mean like a War Axe can't kill it, and I mean there are many things that can't kill it at that point. And if it's a Hunter, right? If it lives, then man, Hunter's in great shape. Going into Houndmasters or whatever. So I think it's just like that little minor thing, and it's probably why they made it a 4/3 because I think it would be probably too good if it was 3/4. So it's cool though. But Bear Shark, I feel like, is the mascot of this expansion in a way, and I'm glad that somebody thinks that, or somebody might be playing it, so that's definitely good. All right, so let's see. I think that's Allie's list. So Jackie, you've got a few more here too.
Yeah, so Blood Razor, the 4-mana 2/2 weapon, Battle Cry and Death Rattle deal 1 damage to all minions. We actually already discussed this on, I think it might have been the last episode of Value Town.
I think it was.
So won't go on this for too long, but I really just think this weapon is kind of just insane. Like the more I think about it, the more I think in some situations it's even better than Death Spite. Like against decks where you really want Whirlwind effect. In decks where you really want the Whirlwind effect, it's just better. Like it's just better against token decks, right? Because of the instant AoE, and you're getting like, right? So with Death Spite, you're getting 4 damage and then 4 more damage and 1 to all. With this, you're getting
2 AoE.
Yeah, you're getting 2 and 1 to all, and then 2 to 1 to all again. So it's essentially like 2 mini swipes.
Yeah,
which is. And the second one is like you can use at your will whenever you like.
Right.
I think this card is just crazy good. Yeah. And
I like it too a lot. I think it might be a little scary against Divine Shield Paladin though. Like you might have to like hold it back if let's just say a Bolvar's up, right? And you have like all these other Divine Shield things up, and it's like, man, I can't even play my Razor Blood. I can't even play my Blood Razor now, unless or otherwise it'll be like a 5/7 or a 7/7 Bolvar I'm looking at. So it could be. I think the battle cry generally is a good thing, but there could be situations where it's actually not good either. This is super great value though. There's no question.
Yeah, and it's nice with some of the new warrior minions we've got as well. A lot of the enrage ones, like the 8-mana legendary and the 3-mana dude. So kind of a little bit of hope that some kind of tempo warrior could come into the scene.
Like they don't have tempo enough with pirates already, man. Jeez, that's crazy.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of 1 damage across the board.
Oh my god, Defile. 2-mana warlock spell, deal 1 damage to all minions. If any die, cast this again. So this is the Dreadsteed killing card. That's the reason Dreadsteed had to be nerfed. Feels bad, man. But this card is actually like bonkers. It's such powerful early AoE. And it's really interesting that you're going to, a lot of the time, be wanting to set this up. So this is going to be really good against things like Token Shaman, where they have lots of 1 health things, lots of 2 health things, lots of 3 health things. This is just going to very easily clean up their board. And when you're using things in your deck like Mortal Coil as well to help set up for these for this massive AoE, I think this is arguably the best card of the set.
Wow. Okay. I see. I put this in my debated section, and so
I did too.
So should we discuss it now, or should we wait? I mean, I feel like
Go for it. We may as well.
It's not in your debated section, actually.
It's not.
It's in my debated section.
I think I decided not to put it in because you put it in, and then I was like, it's redundant, so I'll pick a different card.
We can wait. We can talk about it now if you want. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, might as well. On the topic. Oh, we know you. So this is your card. So
No, go for it.
I'll say my opinions as well. Okay. So when I first saw the card, I was really excited. I thought it was good. My issue with it is that Warlock, I don't think, has great ways to manipulate the board. Like, it doesn't have ping power like Mage. Like, you can't ping something first and then cast a file. And you mentioned Mortal Coil, but I don't think Mortal Coil really synergizes that well with it, because you typically want to cast your Mortal Coil after. I guess if it gets the second minion to 1, that would make sense. But yeah, I feel like it's conditional and not as strong as it may seem. That's just my gut feeling with the card. I could totally be wrong. I'm curious what you
I feel the
say,
same
Jen.
way. I mean, no question it's good, though. I mean, it's like, I'm not saying that it's not good. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm actually just saying that I think that people might be overrating it just because.
Yes,
because by default it's a Arcane Explosion, which is already too. I mean, so you're getting Arcane Explosion plus potentially huge, value on top of that. But like you said, Allie, I mean, there's a couple things for me. It's just like Warlock already has a ton of removal, so it's like. I mean, Defile, you have to replace some of that removal with this, and this is more situational to possibly earlier type of aggression. And I don't even know how good aggro decks are going to be, actually, after this, with some of the cards that I've seen already. So, I don't know how many times, what the average proc will be for Defile. And, if you're playing against a control deck, they don't have very many minions anyways. So Defile is not necessarily going to be a huge value. So we're talking mostly against, say, Shaman, Paladins that's flooding, and some aggro. So it's already limited to those 3 things, in my opinion, in terms of just how good it can be. It's cheap though, so it's like it's not a huge investment, even if you do. But it does take up a card, and with Warlock, I mean, I'll have to, I'll have to see, and I'll have to build a bunch of Warlock. I don't know how many card slots you really have flexible, like where you can just kind of let's just try out these cards,
If you were making a cruel 1 of demon deck or something, it'd probably find a slot in there.
Okay, maybe
that it could potentially work. But I definitely agree with you. To be clear though, I still think it's good.
It's a good card. No question.
It's definitely still a good card.
Yeah. Crazy to say it's not a good card, but
I mean, there's like a couple of other ways you can use it that are pretty cool. Like you could play if you're playing in a deck where you have lots of like Death Rattle minions, like say Devil Soreg, you can use kind of your own minions to keep the Defile proc going.
That's true.
That's true too. That's true.
And there's also a new 2-mana 1/1 Divine Shield spell damage minion, which this is insane with. So you cast Defile. First you play your spell damage. It's 2 mana, so it'll be a 4 damage combo. You play your 2 mana 1/1 Divine Shield, then Defile. It kills a minion, and then it goes off again, kills your own minion, does 2 damage again, so that's already a 4 damage AoE, and then it will go off again and do 5 damage, and it's just pretty. It's such an insane combo that I imagine that would be around.
No, I mean, I definitely thought of the spell damage combos too, but that's like a 2-card combo when you could just use Hellfire or,
yeah, I mean, if you could play like 5 Hellfires, you probably would, right?
Yeah, I mean, I like Defile for me would, like, I think Defile as a better version of like Bouncing Blade, type of thing, and it's like if this card would be in Warrior, holy crap! I mean, it'd be like crazy good,
oh my God,
in Warrior, right? So, or maybe good. Maybe there's not minions to kill either in Warrior, but if you can manipulate it and there's like even more synergy, I think with the Berserkers and Acolytes and things like that, then I could see that working out better. But in Warlock, it's just a little bit harder to imagine. But it's cool, with some of those like 1/1s you say they'll give you like a 5/5. Like there's definitely some synergies that I think could work out. Yeah. Like an Egg Warlock.
Egg Warlock.
Right up Jackie's alley.
Egg Meat Wagon Warlock.
Oh my God! What if we had the 1/1 and then we had the Neruvian egg, and then you had like eggs that lined up from like 1 health, 2 health, 3 health.
Awesome.
Oh my God!
Holy crap! That would be so amazing, dude.
That would be so good.
The spawned minions would be taking the damage as well.
Yeah, they would, but it's like,
but it'd still be cool.
It's like patron, Grim
Style
Patron.
points.
It's like, so what? It's like we still got a bunch of minions here that are big. Okay, let's see. If we're going across, I guess the middle. I guess my next thing is, I'm trying to read it. Oh, it's Phantom. Oh, I have to bring it up. Sorry, it's a little bit small. Phantom Freebooter. So it's a 4 mana, it's a neutral card, 3/3 pirate. It's a rare card. Battlecry gain stats equal to your weapons. So yeah, I picked this card mostly because of the versatility of the card. It's not something that's going to give you like crazy 8/8, something that's going to be ridiculously insane. But I feel like it's pretty solid in terms of what you would play it in, which is a pirate deck, right? And let's just say Warrior right now. I think there's a couple cards that you can actually, if you have too many weapons, which sometimes you do, sometimes you just have like 2 Arcanite Reapers and you just got too much stuff in your hand, there's actually a way to use them as buffs. And this is one of them. And, if you have an Arcanite Reaper in your hand, all of a sudden this becomes an 8/5, or even just like a hook. I think a hook even makes this something good, a little bit later in the game where the hook generally becomes irrelevant, in most cases, right? So yeah, I think this works pretty well in the Hunter or the Warrior, the Pirate Warrior. I don't know if it's quite good enough to make it in the deck without some more changes, but as a 4-drop, I can see this being pretty solid, and it has synergy with Pirate. So yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think
you're ahead, Jack. Oh. you go ahead, it's okay. All right, I'll start. Yeah, I don't think it's that strong, honestly. Like, it's not that I don't think the card is decent. It's more I don't know what I would take out of the current Pirate Warrior list for it. Like, what's the other 4 mana cards?
It'd be the 5/4, right?
The Dread Corsair. Like, I think the Dread Corsair, it's just better. I think. So yeah, I'm not that impressed with it. I don't think it's bad. I just don't like it currently in Pirate Warrior, and I just don't know where else I'd put it if I didn't put it in Pirate Warrior. So
yeah, I think the problem with it, I think, is it's great if you have like Fiery Warwicks equipped, but the problem is you're always going to want to play this on turn 4. I think if you're playing this after your Arcanite Reaper, that's generally not really what you want to be doing, because kind of after you've played your Arcanite Reaper, generally that's the kind of stage as Pirate Warrior where you're all out face. You don't really want to be playing minions. You just want to be heroic striking and that type of thing and finishing them off. And I think the problem with this is that you're going to want to be setting this up. Usually in the early game with Pirate Warrior, you're equipping your weapon and then playing some big, threatening, scary pirates and stuff, and you're pushing face with your minions and then removing the opponent's minions with your weapon. So you're actually often going to be using up your weapon charges early to clear the board. And so I think it's going to be a bit too difficult to consistently get good value out of this on turn 4. Like if you've only got like a a 1/2 hook or something equipped. It's not that good. You'd rather just play like a Naga Corsair. So I actually think this is more likely to see play in Rogue.
Yeah, Rogue is a possibility too.
With the new Rogue stuff that they've got. So,
but they got the new weapon.
I don't think they. Yeah. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, like I said, like I thought it was an interesting one, and I think it can be played across different classes too. So and the pirate synergy will probably only work with warrior and rogue, but I don't know. I thought it was something might be just a slight upgrade to the Naga Corsair, but we'll have to see. Yeah. The next thing I had here was the let's see, the Berserker, right? The animated Berserker. Yeah. So the animated Berserker I thought was interesting. I mean, again, it's not something that's like super hugely amazing, awesome, but I think for what it does, and the fact that it's a 1/3 too, so it's already well statted, and the fact that it synergizes well with like an Acolyte of Pain, it synergizes well with the Frothing Berserker, like if you have coin, and it does hurt things that you continually play, but man, with Warrior, you just have minions that you just want to hurt. They're just like the class of pain, man. Totally.
The class of pain. Yeah.
So I actually think this is pretty cool. I mean, I think this works especially well with like a 3-drop that you're going to want to play with a coin. And could be super strong too with it. What do you guys think?
Only Grim Patron.
I know, right?
No, but I agree with you. I do think it's good. I guess I'm curious if that type of, like, what kind of minion damage deck is going to come out and what we're going to see from it, because I would think that Pirate Warrior would still be probably one of the stronger warrior decks. So I'm not really sure, but I do think the card is good. Like you said, the stats in itself are good, and there are so many synergies that you can have with it. So yeah, and like the new legendary, like you said, could be cool, but that's a little conditional, I suppose. But yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I agree. I think if some kind of tempo warrior becomes the thing, I think this will definitely find a happy home. Maybe even playing like Gurabashi Berserker or something like that. Who knows?
I've thought about that too. But I mean, Bloodhoof, it's great too, right? So
yeah,
I mean, if he lives and Bloodhoof gets up, then I mean he's going to live for a while.
Yeah, it's pretty clutch actually.
Yeah, it's
definitely more enraged minions.
Yeah, it's like a different way of, so you don't have to play Whirl. You know, like you can make an argument where something like Whirlwind's better because it actually has purpose for removing minions too. But at the same time, this is a little bit more exact and precise as to what you want to do with the damage, you know, instead of injuring your entire board, right? Like you just want to injure just what you play next, and you can synergize that a little bit better. But also it has a body too. It really, I think the biggest thing about it is that it's a 1/3 that you can play on turn 1, and against a lot of classes, that's a pretty good thing because you can protect it too with a Fiery War Axe, right? So it potentially can be really, really good that way. Let's see. Nice. I guess why don't I finish mine and then we'll go back to your last one there, Jackie, which is a big druid one. So I've got is it, how do you pronounce it? It's a Saronite Chain Gang. Saronite Chain Gang. Well, actually, I didn't describe the last one. Sorry, guys. It's a 1-mana anime Berserker. It's a common card, 1/3. After you play a minion, deal 1 damage to it. So it's a warrior card. And the one before that was the Phantom Freebooter, which is a 4-mana 3/3 pirate. Battlecry gains stats equal to your weapons. And then this one is a 4-mana Saronite Chain Gang rare card, 2/3. It's a neutral card. Taunt. Battlecry summon a copy of this minion. So you basically get 2 taunts, 2/3 taunts. Which, if you just add up the stats, I mean, that's, it's pretty good stats just generally. And there's a lot of different types of decks right now that just like flooding, just so whether it's a shaman or even a druid. And then druid even has the taunt synergy now too, that they've been adding, with a lot of their cards. So I figured this is a pretty solid card just to add to that. It's a pretty, there's not that much to it, to be honest, but, I feel like it's a really solid one to have.
Yeah,
I think this is actually comfortably one of the best minions in the expansion. It seems really, in fact, I didn't put it in my top 5, but this is I think this is my favorite minion in the whole expansion of kind of.
Really?
Wow.
Wow.
It's insane with hand buffs as well.
Yes.
I mean, you can
I was
compare it to
thinking
like
hand
Feral
buffs.
Spirit. So like it's Feral Spirit, but overall you're spending 1 less mana. Plus it has synergy with hand buffs. Plus it's a neutral, so you can play it in any class. And if you use something like Stolen Goods, this becomes a 5/6 taunt. You Stolen Goods on 2 and then coin out 2 5/6 taunts, which is actually ridiculous. So I think if hand buff Paladin or Warrior ever became a thing, I think it would be very much to do with this card.
Yeah.
I honestly overlooked it. Like now that we're talking about it, I'm like, dang, you guys are right. I overlooked it for whatever reason. But yeah, definitely hand buff Paladin. I feel like you can do some crazy things here with this. So.
Yeah. I mean, do you think hand buff Paladin's going to be a thing? Like, I know there's a viewer that wanted me to ask you, Jackie, like specifically, like, do you think, is there any kind of hand buff Paladin deck that you've been thinking about, like with all the Divine Shields now and stuff? Oh, you have? Yeah, really?
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's got some great new stuff. This 4-mana minion is insanely good. The Righteous Protector is also insanely good. I actually like the 4-mana. The more cards that have been revealed, the more I actually like the 4-mana 3/2 charge minion.
Really?
Oh, the lifesteal one?
Wow.
Yeah, and you play because it's very good with Happy Ghoul as well.
Oh,
yeah,
that's true.
Yeah.
I think that
I'm super hyped for hand buff Paladin, man.
Oh man, I didn't think about some of those things. Man, Paladin might have to go up a little bit higher in my ranking, which we're about to do. Okay, Jackie, you have one last 10 mana card.
Final is Ultimate Infestation. Ali, you actually put this in your overrated section.
Yes, I know. It's like super unpopular opinion, but you talk about it and then
I'd like to hear your opinion. So it's a 10-mana spell that does everything you could ever want. Deals 5 damage, draws 5 cards, gains 5 armor, and summons a 5/5 ghoul. So 5s everywhere.
The ultimate Kazakus spell. Is
so
what
drawing 5 cards is absolutely insane. It's almost like Yogg. It's like when you play Yogg, you're expected to do something like this. For the amount of mana you're spending, you're just getting so much for that mana. And I would love this to potentially replace Auctioneer in Jade Druid. I'm not sure if it actually will, but I'd love it if it did. The one problem I have with this card is that it is 10 mana, and so I feel like even though it's so powerful, even if you're playing this in a deck, I think you're probably only going to be able to play one of it, just because 2 is so clunky. Like, it's such a powerful card, but having 2 10-mana cards like this is...
It's too many cards.
It's not going to help against aggro, that's for sure.
Drawing 5 cards twice is a lot.
I think it's too many. Yeah.
That is a lot.
So I will say, again, I do think it's strong. It's in the debated section because I think it's overrated, because I think it's gotten a lot of attention and everyone thinks it's great. And I do think it's very powerful. And like I said, it's like a super Kazakus potion, but I think that, Kazakus is such a flexible card. So, that's why it's good. But Jackie, you said that it's 10 mana. And I think that's really my biggest issue with it, is that it's your entire turn. So like at that stage in the game, if you aren't in a good position, like I don't know if this is enough, because it's not a board clear, and if you're playing a Druid deck with Auctioneer, which a lot do, I don't know if it's good enough to replace Auctioneer, and I think the 5 cards can just be too much. Like you'll wind up burning, or it's so situational. You'll have to wait to cast it if you really don't want to burn a card or something. So I do think it's strong. It's very powerful, but I just think it's a little bit overrated. And this is probably the card I'm most looking forward to seeing the power level of it and just see like what happens, because there's just been so much talk about it. So I think it draws you too many cards, and it's so expensive for that point in the game.
It definitely has elements that, in the past, where these cards are just like crazy good and they're talked about, and then they don't quite have, that same type of effect. But this is one of the cards I put as my favorite cards. So I like this card a lot, just because I'm kind of right there with you though, Allie. I'm not sure what it's going to be best in, but I like the prospects of being able to play Medivh now in Druid, because before
that's
Medivh
true.
there was never a high costing spell that was actually worth playing. That was above 5, so, or even 6, right? So this I think opens it up to that. This also, I mean, you're right that it doesn't clear the board, but you actually do make a tempo play with a 5/5 ghoul, and you're removing something too. So it's not completely just like draw 5 cards. It's actually quite a bit too on top of that. But I think that it sets you up for whatever the next big turn is.
Yeah.
But it does a good job of doing that. It gives you health and it removes stuff. So it's
there's quite a lot of things you can compare it to. So like the old Ancient of Lore, which was really good. So it's 7 mana, 5/5, draw 2 cards. So this is the same as that, but you're also getting 5 armor and doing 5 damage and drawing 3 extra cards, all for 3 mana. You can also compare it to, say, Firelands Portal, which is on average probably like deal 5 damage, summon a 5/5. For an extra 3 mana, you're gain 5 armor and draw 5 cards, which is insane. So like what you're getting is just kind of ridiculous. But I do know what you mean, Ellie. It is
just playing like devil's advocate, and just kind of like on Allie's side too, is that there's one thing to be said about just pure value. There's one thing to say about pure value, but there's another thing. It's like, who cares about 5 armor against certain matchups, right? Like that doesn't really matter, right? So, I mean, the things that probably always matter will be the minion and like the other 3 things. I think the other 3 things are probably the most relevant, and because I'm not running Ultimate Infestation for health. That's for sure. Right?
Yeah.
So, if you look at the other 3, is it worth 10 mana? Yeah, I still think it's worth 10 mana, so it's still pretty good, and it would be funny if people run 2 of these things. Just be insane.
Huge druid.
Oh my god, super huge druid.
I could see it in Big Druid for sure. With Medivh, it's interesting, but like with Moonglade Portal, that would combo with Medivh well. But I think the issue if you were making a Druid Medivh deck with this is that a Druid has kind of crappy board clears right now. And you typically, like, if you're playing a Medivh deck, you're playing a control deck. And so if, there's no mulch and, big board clears, it might be an issue. But I still think it's very strong. So I'm just really, really hyped to see how this one works out.
It's in the same defile bucket. I've got another one that's in that same bucket. So I totally understand where you're coming from with that.
All right,
cool. Okay, so next list we're doing is the